Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Dear students, I Dr. Shivang Patel, Associate Professor from School of Computer Science, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, welcome you all in the lecture series of Python programming. In this lecture series, in previous session, we have started unit 2, in which we have seen the concept of variables as well as data types. We have discussed why data type is important for any programming languages. We have already discussed few of the basic data types like numeric data type and string data type. We have also discussed basic function, that is inbuilt function type, by which you can get which kind of data that you have entered that will be returned in the form of class, because everything that will be considering as an object in Python. So if you are assigning any value to the variable, that variable is nothing but the object, or you can say that the instance, and the data of particular which type that will be considered under the class, right, that we have already discussed. Now in today's session we are continuing with few more basic data types. So it starts with the sequence data type. Now you already aware sequence, that is nothing but some continuation or order collection of similar or different items. So whenever you are considering the sequence, it is the order collection. It may be of similar types, it may be of different types, right. So multiple values that you can able to store in that particular sequence. Now here basically it can be classified into 3 basic sequence types, in which we will see list, tuple and range. Again I am repeating that this is only the concept of data type. So we will see how to use such kind of data that can be used, but in detail how to manipulate such kind of data, that we will discuss in our next unit, that is data structures available in the Python, right. Second is text sequence type, that is string, that we have already discussed in the previous session, how the string that can be defined, how to fetch particular character with the help of indexing, and how to merge multiple string into single, that we have already discussed. Third sequence type, that is binary sequence type, in which bytes, byte array and memory view that we are going to see, right. Now string, array of bytes that representing the Unicode characters, the list, that is the order and the mutable collection of items. Now here one term that you have to understand, that some of the data types, or you can say that some of the structures that are mutable and some of the structures are immutable. Now what is the meaning of mutable or immutable? So mutable, that means you can able to change after defining some of the value to that particular data structure, and immutable, that means after that you cannot be able to modify. That means once it is created, then after if you are trying to change some of the value inside that, the compiler will give you error message. So such kind of data types are considering under the immutable data types, right. So if you are considering the list, then list is nothing but the order collection of multiple items, and as well as it is mutable. That means after creating a list, you can able to change whatever the value, you can able to delete, you can able to add, you can able to modify whatever the items or content available in that particular list. Second is tuple. So tuple is also the order sequence, but you can say that it is immutable. So once you are creating the tuple, then after you cannot able to change, or user cannot able to change or modify the values inside it. Then after the range, again it is immutable collection of numbers, you can say that the sequence of numbers. Previous two, you can use the mixed values, mixed data, mixed content yet you can use, but here in the range normally it is the sequence of numbers. Then after different operations that can be possible, indexing and slicing. We will see this with the demo. First of all, that is the list. So here list, first of all it will be created with the help of square bracket. So the first statement list equal to empty square bracket, that will create the empty list. Same way you can observe at the bottom the output, So here initial list, that is empty, there is no item available. Then after list equal to data scientist. So data scientist, that is a single value, you can say that the single string that we have created with single quotation. You can also use double quotation here, right. In that case, suppose you are trying to print that value, you can see data scientist as a whole, that will be printed. So you can say that here in the list only one item will be there. Then after two item list we are creating, one is data, one is scientist. So multiple items that you can able to add with the comma sign, right. So here data and scientist, this two value that will be presented. And in the next block you can see list within list. So we are creating nested list here. So within list we are creating two lists. In first list the content is data, that is only single content. In the second list we are creating two contents, that is data and scientist, that is our second list. Now this both the list that is available in the main list, that is our parent list. So here you can see that multi-dimensional list that will be printed multiple data here, right. That is the example of list. Then after the tuple, so as we have already discussed, list, that is the order sequence of multiple items, but it is mutable, right. But in the same way, but tuple is also the order sequence of multiple type of data, but here it is immutable. So tuple that can be created with the help of parenthesis, list that will be created with the square bracket, and the tuple that will be created with the parenthesis. Here the same, we have created the empty list. Then after we are creating the tuple with the three items, that is good, better and best. In the next example we are creating the tuple with numeric values, right. You can also use mixed value and create a tuple as well as the list, that can be possible here. Then after in the last block you can say list 1 equal to 1 2 3 4, that we have created one list. Now we are giving that list into the tuple. So now we have created one variable new tuple, inside that we are passing that list 1. So you can observe in the output that tuple with list that will be printed. And then after in the last thing we have defined that list grade. So now the grade will be displayed as individual character, because you have defined here tuple grade. So explicitly you have defined that value grade. So one by one character that will be displayed in the form of tuple. This is the example of tuple. Then after next example, that is range. So as we have discussed previous two, or you can say that the string, tuple and the list, that is the combination of mixed type. You may use alphabets, you may use digits also, but here in the range you have to use numbers only, right. So it is the sequence of numbers. Generally it can be used in the loop that you are using in the Python programming. So you can observe in the example here numbers equal to range 4. So range here that can be worked as a function. 4 that represent, you are creating the numbers that starts from 0 to 3. So range is 4, but actually the number that can be allowed, that is 0, 1, 2 and 3, and normally it is in the sequence and incremented by 1 automatically. So whenever you are creating a range, the sequence starts with the 0 and automatically it will be incremented by 1. So the main application of range is you are using that thing in the loop. So for I in numbers, here for loop that can be used, and print I. So it will print the values from 0, 1, 2 and 3, right. So this way you can use the range. Then after mapping data, so mapping, that is nothing but you want to map with some value. In that case you are using this mapping. So there is one data type called dictionary. The short form is dict, that is dictionary. You can use in the mapping data type. So normally you can use the key and value pair. So here you have to define the key and you have to map that value with that particular key. So multiple operations that can be also possible with the dictionary. You can assign the value to the keys, you can fetch the value that related with the keys, you can remove that particular key and value pair, you can add some value here, key and value, right. So multiple operations that you can able to perform with this dictionary. So you can get more idea with the example. If you want to create a dictionary, remember you are requiring the curly bracket. mind well, in the syntax of list you are using square bracket, in the syntax of tuple you are using parenthesis, in the syntax of creating that dictionary you have to use curly bracket. So, we have to use here two things, one is key and one is value, that is in the pair. In first statement we have created the empty dictionary. In the second we are creating with the three values, and three values, each and every value that is associated with one key. So, now suppose you want to extract that particular value, you can just simply put the key and you can get the value. So, this way key and value they are associated with each other, and that will be implemented in the dictionary, right. In the next example you can see name and the sumi, right. So, name, that is key, considering as a key. Suppose you want to fetch the value that related with that particular key, in that case you are using this name. Same way here 1 and then after colon 1 2 3 the list will be created. Now, suppose you want to fetch that list, the related key, that is 1 here. Then after again dictionary will be created by using the dict function also. In the previous case you have seen with the curly bracket you are creating the dictionary. Here second alternative is there, you can use dict function by which you can create a dictionary. Now, in the last block you can see you are using the list, right, that is for creating the dictionary with the each item as a pair. So, this way you can define or you can create a dictionary in which you can give the pair of key and the value. The next data type, that is set. Now, set, that is unordered collection of unique items. So, in the previous data type we have seen that sequence, that is the order collection, but here it is unordered collection. Second important thing, in all of these previous data types the repetitions that can be allowed or duplication that can be allowed, but here in the set no duplications will be allowed. So, all the values that you are going to include, that is represented in the output form as a unique, right. So, two variations are there, one is set, one is frozen set. So, set, that is mutable and frozen set is immutable. So, if you are creating a set, then later on you can change, you can modify, you can add, you can update, you can remove any items inside that set, but once the frozen set will be created, it can be immutable. So, after that you are not able to change the values. You can get more idea with the help of example. Here set will be created by using the set function. So, set 1, that is the variable, equal to set. So, here an empty set will be created. So, you can observe in the right hand side the output will be given. Then after set 1 equal to set 1 2 3 4 and hello, here the mixed value that we have assigned to create a set. So, output 1 2 3 4 and the hello, that will be printed. Then after suppose we are creating the set with some duplicate values, then what happened? Here you can observe that 1 2 3, then 3, that can be repeated multiple times. So, whenever you are printing the values of set, so it will discard the repeated value, that is the feature of the set, right. So, in the set only unique values that can be allowed. Same way in the last example or the last block you can see the mixed value we have defined, right. So, this way you can able to use set. Now, the frozen set. Now, you can observe here we have created one frozen set, my list, we have created one list and we are passing that list in the frozen set function. So, here frozen set, that will be created with the three value, that is cat, dog and ant. Now, suppose you are going to change the value by its position x of 1 equal to lion. So, compiler will give you error message. Now, error message will be shown here in the screen. Why? Because frozen set is immutable or set. So, you cannot change the value once you have assigned, right. So, this is the basic difference. So, for examination you have to remember the question may be asked in the MCQ or the long question may be asked, you have to explain the unordered set. In that case you have to explain this data type, right. Now, next is Boolean data type. So, basically two values that can be available, true or false. You can observe here on the screen print type true. So, if you are using type true, then it will define Boolean class. Same way for the false, Boolean class will be defined. But suppose you are using the false, f is not the capital, right. So, as you already aware, it is case sensitive. so it will define you the error message. So only two values with the first letter capital true and false that can be allowed with the Boolean data type. Now the next is binary data type. So here three variations are there: bytes, byte array and the image view, right, or memory view, you can say that. So bytes that refer to immutable sequence, that means once you are creating the value it cannot be changed. Some of the times suppose you are assigning the value and that values that will be converted into the byte form. In that case this data type that can be used: byte array, that is the mutable sequence of bytes; memory view, that objects allow Python code to access the internal data of the object, that supports the buffer protocol without copying. That means if you are using the memory view, then it will allows you to directly read or write access of objects byte oriented data without needing to copy it first. So if you want to improve the performance, if you want to remove the intermediate step to read or write the data directly from the memory, in that case you are using this memory view. So it will improve your system performance. You can get more idea with the help of this example. So here one variable, that is byte data, one value that define here Python program. Now before Python program it is the string literal, but before that the prefix I have used, that is b, that means whenever the data that will be stored, it is in the form of some ASCII value, or you can say that the Unicode character set, right. So this data that will be stored as an ASCII or the Unicode set, or you can see in the print output, that is binary literal, that is Python program. Now suppose you want to fetch one character by character. So byte data 0, the 0th position, that is P, capital P. So the ASCII value of capital P, that is 80. As we have already discussed, you are using the byte data type or bytes or byte array data type. In that case your data that can be stored in the Unicode or the ASCII value, so you can fetch here the ASCII value. Same way, suppose the second position you want to fetch, that is Y. So small y letter, the ASCII value, that is 121, that will be printed, right. Second thing, now bytes array, they are defining a list 80, 121, 116, these are the different values. So we are inputting the value in ASCII or Unicode. In that case the output will be converted into the string. Here you can observe the output, that value that will be defined as a Python string, right. So this way you can use the binary data type and multiple variations like bytes, byte array and the memory view. Next is none data type. Now suppose you don't want to define any value to particular variable, in that case you can use the none. So normally it represents the absent of value or the null value. So you can see on the left hand side, if x, that means by default it is true, then do you think the none is true? So this will not be executed. Same way elif, that statement is not also executed, but the last statement will be executed. Why? Because x equal to none. So none represent nothing. It may not be true, it may not be false, or it may not represent any value, right. So whenever you want to search data type for assignment or comparison operation, then you can use. On the right hand side you can see the demonstration where none equal to none. So we have defined one variable with the value none. We have defined another variable, say where integer with value 99. Now suppose is none, that is the variable I have defined. Where none is none, that means where none is none. So this statement is true, because where none equal to none, it is compared with the none value. So is none variable contains the true value. Now suppose you are going to print the value of is none variable, so it will display the result true. And then after second print statement where integer double equals to none, so here comparison operation that will be defined. So in where int there is a value 99, that double equal to none. So here that cannot be matched, so the result will be false, because none, that means no value, that's why that can be done, right. Now we are concluding our session. In today's session we have discussed the rest of the basic data type like sequence, then after set, then after binary data type and the Boolean data type, right. Now in the next subsequent session we are starting with the operator concept, and the typecasting concept. Till then, happy learning. Thank you.